course on Industrial Automation and Control. Myself, Dr.M. Prasad Reddy, working as Associate Professor at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. So in today's lecture, I am going to give the brief introduction to the course on Industrial Automation and Control. So coming to the course overview, so this course provides an exposure to the technology of industrial automation and control as widely seen across a range of industries. In most of the industries, current days, so all the equipments are automated. The major motto of this industrial automation is to increase the productivity. So in this particular course, so you can see a variety of topics starting from what is the advantages and architecture of industrial automation. In the next part, we can see what are the various types of measurement system so that can be used in the industrial automation like sensors and signal conditioning circuits. And later we can see what is the discrete and continuous variable control systems. And also we can see the programmable logic controllers. So these are going to play a very major role in the industrial automation along with the SCADA systems. And also we can see CNC machines and actuators, so which are a part of industrial automation systems. Basically, in this particular course, in the first module, I'm going to explain what are the architectures and advantages of industrial automation systems. So in the later class, in the later session, we'll introduce what are the various types of measurement systems, especially in an industry. If you want to automate, compulsory you have to locate the sensors at various positions. So for automation, the sensors are the basis. So with the help of sensors, we are going to measure the various variables in the plant. So from the sensors, we are getting the data, and whatever the data we are measuring through the sensors, so that we are going to conditioning through the signal conditioning unit. Signal conditioning means, so we are going to modify the data measured through the sensors. Maybe we are going to increase the level of whatever the magnitude, changing the magnitude or filtering, or we are going to convert from one form to the another form. That can be done through signal conditioning. Upon receiving this particular data at the next level, so there we are going to perform some control actions based on whatever the measurement data. So for this purpose, we have a variety of controllers, and also not only normal controllers. So here we have the programmable logic controllers also. So based on whatever the programmable logic controllers are based on the control input, so we are going to operate CNC machines or actuators. So basically, if you want to increase the temperature or decrease the temperature at a plant, so you have to move the actuators so that can be opening or closing the valves, or if it is the blowers, you are going to switch on or switch off the blowers. So with the help of some actuators. So all this particular machinery and whatever the sensors, signal conditioning and control system together makes the automation economic. So coming to the introduction, so here first of all we'll see what is meant by automation. So automation terms comes from the Greek word that is automatos. So auto means self and matos means moving, self-moving. So if you go to any industry which is automated, there you can see there won't be any intervention of human beings. So all the things, all the process that can be moving automatically. Suppose if you are going to have a product, like if you are going to have a product, so in that case, what is going to happen? Product means you have to feed the material, then the material is going to the next machine. So there you are going to cut into the pieces, then you are going for the molds. All those things can be done automatically in an automated industry. Suppose if it is the lathe metal. So like that here, when you enter into the industry, if it is automated, there you can see a lot of self-moving machinery. So first we will define what is an industry. So industry means it is a systematic economic activity. So this industry may be of different types. It may be the manufacturing industry, or it may be the service industry, or it may be the trading. So in this course, so most of the times we are going to deal with the manufacturing industry, not on the service or trading sector. So first of all, the automation was coined in the mid of 1940s by the US automobile industry to indicate the automatic handling of parts between the production machines. So this together with their continuous processing at the machines. So coin means first they have invented this particular word in the mid of 1940s. So this automation, first of all, they have invented this word for automatic handling of parts between the production machines. Suppose if you want to produce any product, it may be the combination of various parts. So if you are going to assemble all the parts together, then only you are going to come up with the end product. So this particular automation, it is developed in the small scale in the middle of the 20th century. So later on, so in the current days, almost all the industries are automated in a very large scale. So in the 20th century, it is in the small scale. In the 21st century, so it is going to be a very large scale. Why? Because all the industries are going to reduce the manpower by automating the industry. So when you are going to automate the industry, not only reducing the manpower, it can increase the productivity and it can reduce the cost per unit also. So with all these advantages, all the industries are moving towards the automation. So we can define the industrial automation in a variety of ways. First of all, we can define the one particular way. So that is, an automated system is a collection of devices working together to accomplish tasks or produce a product or family of products. So for producing any product, so it is a collection of devices. Suppose if you want to make a particular product, so it may be a combination of various units. Like if you are going to manufacturing a car, so for manufacturing a car, what are the things required? So you have to make a painting, you have to assemble the various electronic gadgets into the car, and you have to assemble whatever the tires, and you have to assemble the engine into that one. So if you are going to arrange all these things together, then only you are going to make it is a car. So for this particular purpose, maybe when you are going for industries which are manufacturing for the car, so there you can see a large number of robotics are working for manufacturing a car. So each robot having a special function. So for making the electronic assembly, there will be one robot. It is going to function for electronic sense, and there may be some other robots which may be for painting purpose. So all together, all these devices are working together to complete this particular manufacturing of a car. And second definition, so automation is the process in industry where various production operations are converted from a manual process to an automated or mechanized process. So if you go to any chemical process or industry, so in the olden days, so at each and every place, the human beings are going to inspect the process, and even from packing, starting from mixing the various chemicals to the packing of any whatever the chemicals. So in all the places, the human beings are going to involve. So with the development of automation, so all these particular manual things is replaced with the automated process. So whenever you are moving from manual to the automated process, so there are a lot of advantages are there. So for suppose if you are going to work with the human being, so they may not make, suppose if you are going to make the 100 materials by the human being, he may not make all the 100 products like the similar manner. Why? Because there may be a chance of getting some, there may be some variations takes place in the final product if you are comparing the all 100 products. So in that case, if one product variation takes place, then you have to throw it as a scrap. But if you are going to do the same task with the automated process, so there is no chance of getting the variation in the product. So all the products may be similar kind. And in another way, we can define the industrial automation is a set of technologies so that results in the operation of industrial machines and systems together to avoid the human intervention and achieves higher degree of whatever the profits and economy. So here we are going to avoid the manual operations. So not only combining the, it may be different. So if you are going for the manufacturing process, you can define the automation in one sense. And if you are going for a chemical process, that may be different. And if you are going for service or trading, there you can define the automation in a different sense. So finally, uh, we can say these automation systems are going to eliminate the human interventions, so thereby the increasing productivity and also increasing the profit to that particular industry, whichever they are going for automation. Now we can take some examples of automation systems. So suppose if you take the operating of a metal lathe, so here we can see, so if it is performed through a human being, how it is going to take place, and if it is done by the automated process, how it is going to take place. So first of all, if you are going to operate this metal lathe by the human being, first what has to do? So here the aim of this particular human being by operating this metal lathe is he has to make some components. So if you want to make a component, first of all, you require some material. So first of all, the worker has to collect the material from the stock, then he has to cut this particular material into the sizes, then he has to place this particular material into the lathe chuck, then he has to move the various parts by the hand. So there he has to rotate the some wheels with the help of hand, so that it is going to make the or create the component. So here, if worker want to create a component, he has to collect the material from the stock, then he has to cut into the pieces, then he has to move these particular pieces into the lathe chuck, then he has to operate that particular lathe machine, then only he can create the component. And if you want to create the another component, again what he has to do? Again he has to collect the material, then cut into the sizes, then he can put into the lathe, again he can operate, then he can create the component. So in this particular process, if he is not operating properly, so there is a chances of variations takes place in the whatever the components create. Even if he is going to create the same components repeatedly, there is a chance of getting the variations in the final products. So whichever the components having the variations, that he cannot sell it, he have to throw it as a scrap. But the same thing if we are going through the automated process, so here what is the purpose of worker here? So simply the worker has to place the long bars. So once he is going to place the long length bars into this particular feeding mechanism in the automated system, that mechanism itself will take the long bar and it will cut into a small piece, then it will move on to the lathe chunk automatically, then it will rotate that particular wheel automatically, then finally it is going to create the component. So once this particular component is created, automatically the long length bar is moved from feed to the lathe chunk again, and it will be cut, and again it is going to create the component. So like that here, here the human intervention is very less. Only he is putting the long length bars into the feeding mechanism, then automatically it is going to create the component. And also one more advantage here is, so whatever the components created within this particular process, so if the machine, if the automated process is going to create the 100 products here, all the 100 products will look like the similar in terms of the length, in terms of whatever the sizes. But if it is the manual case, so if he is going to create the 100 products, there may be changes in the variations of the size. So here basically within the automated process, you can create the components very efficiently with the similar sizes, and there won't be any variations takes place in the product or component size. So this is one of the major advantages of industrial automation. And we can consider another example. And if you take any automobile, so there will be a brain box to receive the inputs from various sensors and to control the various outputs that regulate the engine's operation, and also other functions such as anti-lock braking. So as you know, in any cars there will be anti-lock braking system will be there. How it is going to work? So in the anti-lock braking system, so you have to receive certain inputs. So from where you are going to receive the inputs? Through the sensors. So these sensors are giving the input to the brain box, and that within the brain box there may be some control actions. So it is going to compare the various quantities, and based on whatever the values it is going to get it from the sensors, and it is going to give the command, and it is going to operate this particular anti-lock braking system. And another example you can take, it is the home buzzer alarm systems. So here the control box is going to receive the inputs from the sensors and also switches that located at the doors and windows of the house. And industrial automated system, that can be either one machine or a group of machines, that we can call it as a cell. So within this particular cell, there may be a variety of devices. So some devices may be used for production, and some particular system may be used for support, control, and giving the feedback. So together all these things we can call it as the cell. So this particular cell includes there will be a production system, there will be a supporting system and controlling system, and also feedback system. So here you can see a simple automated cell. So as we already discussed, so in a cell there will be four systems. One is the and production, support, control, and feedback. So in this particular example, you can see here you have the cell controller unit, and here you have the robot controller. This particular robot is going for performing the task, and CNC machine also going to perform the task. So vision system is going to give the feedback, and this hard automation. So hard automation means it is a fixed automation. So here you can see, so through these sensors and vision system, you are going to get the feedback, and you are going to get the support through this particular hard automation system. And here you are going to have the production through this particular CNC machines and robot. And here and also you have the control over here. Either it may be the robot controller or cell controller. So these are the four parts of this particular cell. So when you go to any typical automation system, so you can see such a kind of things will be there. So there may be a production, there may be a cell, there may be a feedback, there may be a support and controller systems. So this is the typical automated cell. And what are the applications of automated system? So where you can use these particular automations. So automatic machine tools to process parts. So basically, whenever you are going to create a parts for whatever the automobiles or any other industries, so if it is going to done through the manual operations, as we already discussed, so there may be variations takes place in the parts when you are going to create manually. But if you are going to create the parts and tools with the help of this automated process, so the variations in the final products may be very much less. And also you can use the automation in the computer systems for automatically transforming designs into the parts. So that is when you take the CNC machines, what you are going to do with the CNC machine. So there you are going to give the 3D drawings, then these particular drawings are transformed into the machines, even it is the lathe machines or any other particular machines, so which are going to perform the task. So you can give the task from the computer, then it will be transformed to the machine and you can get the output. So if you are going to design a product, means that final product, even you can take the 3D modeling. So there you are going to model in the software, then you are going to give it to the machine, then automatically the machine is going to create the product or part whichever you already designed in the computer. And also computer systems for planning and decision making to support the manufacturing. So this is also very, very important. So in the manufacturing process, so planning and decision making is very, very important. So what is meant by planning and decision making means, so according to the people's need or according to the product demand, every time you have to change or you have to increase the production volume, and if there is no demand, means you have to decrease the production volume, and sometimes you need to change the products. All those things, it is a part of planning and decision making in the manufacturing industry. And automatic assembly of machines. So usually here you can see uh, when you take the Kia cars, so Kia cars, everything is done by robotics. So there they have completely assembling the car parts through robotic machines, and also industrial robotics. And in nowadays, so in many places the robots are going to perform the task. So especially the robots are very much useful when it is automated the industry where you are going to work in the hazardous places. And automatic material handling, so this is also very important. So if you are going to make the automatic material handling in the process, then there you can reduce a scrap. And automated storage and retrieval systems, and automatic inspection systems, and feedback control systems. So these are the numerous applications of industrial automation systems. And what are the advantages of automation? So you can increase the productivity. Why? Because so by utilizing the whatever the available resources, so you can work for the longer time, and there won't be any ideal time. If you are automating the process, you can work 24 by 7. So automatically you can increase the productivity, and you can reduce the production cost also. Why? Because you are going to eliminate the manpower, and you are going to work for a longer time, and you are going to uh, get the products very efficiently. And minimization of human fatigue, that is also one of the advantages. And less floor area is required. Suppose if you want to create the more products manually, means you have to provide the more and more infrastructure. But if you are taking the industrial automated process by utilizing the available resources, so which are constructed in a particular space, by increasing the whatever the automated process, or by increasing the more number of machinery, so you can create the more and more production. But it is not possible whenever you are going to handling this particular process manually. And reduced maintenance requirements, that is also one advantage. So better working conditions for workers. So here the major role of workers in the automated process is just they have to inspect the process, and they have to inspect the machines, so whether all the machines are running in a sequence or not, and they are not going to do anything within that machinery other than inspecting. So that is going to provide the better working condition for the workers, especially whenever you are handling the process like boiler process, where you are going to have work with the temperature, and there where you are going to work with the places like hazarded places. So when you are automating such a places, so that will provide the better working condition for the workers. And effective control over production process. So here, as everything is automated, so sequence one by one, if you are inserting feeding some material into that automated process, so step by step it is going through the different machinery, and you are going to get the end product. And improving in the quality of products, as already discussed, when you are going through work with the automated process, so there won't be any variations takes place in the final products. Whatever you are giving uh, through either computer or manually, so that same thing can be produced with the help of this particular automated process, and with the help of machinery. So reduction in accidents, and hence safety for workers. So here most of the times, so basically if you want to measure the temperature in a boiler, if it is the manual, means one person has to go to that particular process and take the some particular sensors, and they have to measure that particular variables. But if it is automated, so you are going to locate the sensors at various parts of this particular industry, then you are going to get the data automatically into the whatever the system. And what is the goals of automation? The major goals of automation is so integrate various aspects of manufacturing operations, improving the quality by employing more repeatable process, and reduce the human involvement, boredom, and possibility of human error, and reduce the workpiece damage caused by the manual handling of the parts. So we already discussed, if any, suppose for example, if you are taking the lathe machine, if it is handled by the human being or worker, and if it is the automated, so what are the advantages and what are the disadvantages we already discussed. and raise the level of safety for personnel. So especially under hazardous working conditions. So there a person no need to go and measure any variables in the plant. Simply you can insert the sensor so that you are going to get the data. And also you are going to reduce the space in the manufacturing plant, and you can arrange the machines in a proper manner so that you are going to reduce the space for incorporating all the machines in a automated process. And here material movement and other equipment, you can make it more efficiently and more convenient manner within a given or available space. So these are the major goals of automation. And what are the role of automation in the industry? So the major aim of or major goal of this automated industry is, suppose if you are feeding some raw material into this particular process, then that is going to give the end product. For example, if you are going to take the steel plant, so what is the input to the steel plant means that is the iron ore. So iron ore, if you are getting from whatever the uh, sites, so that will be it may be in the form of raw or unfinished materials. So then you are making this particular iron ore to flow through the various processes. So like you have to separate the iron, you have to heat it, and you have to make it as a molds, and finally you are going to get the finished product as a steel. So here if you are supplying the iron ore, that is a raw or unfinished materials to any manufacturing process, that is a steel industry, and final outcome will be the steel. But what all you require to convert this particular raw or unfinished material into the final product means, so you may require the energy, you may require the manpower, you may require the infrastructure. So these are very important for any industry. So in energy is going to play a very major role, and manpower is required, infrastructure. So this together we can call it as the manufacturing process. And how these particular industries are going to make the profit. So what is the profit here? So here price per unit minus cost per unit into production volume. Suppose if you want to increase the profit, what you can do? So you have to reduce the cost per unit. So that is one of the way how we can increase the profit. So cost per unit means, cost per unit means that is the production cost for the unit, not final cost what you are selling. So this is production cost per unit. How we can reduce means, with the help of automation, automatically can reduce the cost per unit, or you can increase the production volume also. So as you have automated the industry, so you can work with that particular industry 24/7. So there you can increase the production volume. So it may be increasing the working hours, or you can establish the new, you can provide the new infrastructure to install the new machinery, so that you can increase the production volume. And price per unit. So if you are going to increase the price per unit, then also you can increase the profit when you are selling in the market. But when you are going to increase the price per unit, so you have to take care of quality of the product. So if the quality, if you are going to maintain the quality of the product, then only the peoples are going to buy your products, even though if you are increasing the price. But it is not suggestible. So first of all, if you want to increase the profit of any industry, so you have to increase the production volume, and you have to reduce the cost per unit. And if you want to reduce the cost per unit, you have to minimize the energy, you have to minimize the manpower, and you have to produce the more and more products by utilizing the available infrastructure. And here cost per unit that depends upon material, energy, manpower, and infrastructure. So this is how it is possible to reduce the cost per unit. Suppose if you are going to handling the material through the automation process, so compared to the manual handling of material, and if you are going to handle through the automated process, there you can reduce a lot of scrap. Why? Because suppose if you are going to engrave anything through the CNC machines, so those are going to engrave very properly, and it will give the final output whatever you want. But if it is going to done through the manual operations, so whatever the material you are going to use, that you may require the more and more material, and there is a chance of variation in the final product. So if any variations takes place, you are going to throw that particular piece and again you are going to make the new things. That is the usual practice. But if you are going to handling these things through the automated process, so there won't be any scrap, so that the material is minimized. By utilizing the same material, so you can create the more and more products with the available material. So that if you are utilizing this particular material in a perfect manner, the cost per unit it is going to reduce in somehow. Then energy. So energy also a very good a very important aspect. Why? Because if you are going to take any industrial process, so if you want to release some gases into the whatever the air, so you have to make the filters, or you have to establish some special machinery to reduce the carbon emission into the air. So in that particular case, if you are optimally utilize the energy, then also you can decrease the cost per unit. And another one, manpower. So here, when you have automated the industry, so there is no need of much manpower. So here the human beings are required only at a certain places. So one thing is at the time of feeding the material, or at the time of inspection, and at the time of final product checking. So that is for only quality purpose, the manpower required, and for the inspection manpower required, and at the time of feeding the material, the manpower required. So compared to the manual operation of the industry, so in the automated, so it can eliminate the human intervention. So that is also going to affect on the cost per unit. Then the other one is infrastructure. So whenever you are going to automate the industry, the initial investment is going to be very much high compared to the normal industry. Why? Because so in the initially when you are going to automate, so you have to place the all machinery in a particular manner, and also you have to place a lot of sensors within the industry, and you have to establish control rooms, and you have to establish the supervisory control units also at the various or central location. So initially the infrastructure cost is going to be very much high when you are going to automate, but by utilizing the same infrastructure, so you can increase the product volume, or you can increase the production volume by optimally utilizing the available infrastructure. So that also going to reduce the cost per unit. And production volume. So how we can increase the production volume? So as we already discussed, so if you want to increase the profit, so there are two ways. So one is you can reduce the production cost per unit, or you can increase the production volume. How we can increase the production volume with the help of automation? The first one is production time. So with the help of automation, so everything is handling by the machinery. So there is no wastage of time. So if the manual, if the worker wants to do, suppose lathe machine, he has to take the bars, he has to cut into the pieces, he has to uh, put it in the lathe chunk, then he has to operate the wheels like that. It is time consuming. But if it is the automated, so first of all, if you are feeding the long length bars, so it will move on to the lathe chunk, and whenever you are operating the wheel, so automatically there will be another size of pieces will be ready for moving into the lathe chunk. So like that you can reduce the production time and also material handling time. So here the materials are going to handle by the machinery automatically, and ideal time. So you can reduce the ideal time. Why? Because so all this machinery can work for 24/7 if there is no errors in the process. And quality assurance time. So this is very very important. Why? Because in the olden days, whenever you are talking about the quality of any product, so in the olden days, so if you are going to produce the 1,000 products of a similar kind, so they are not going to test all the 1,000 products. So rather than they are going to take randomly some 10 items from the lot, and they are going to test for the quality. So but nowadays, whenever you are going to buy any product, compulsory each and every individual they want to test all the products. So for that in that case, so if you are going to reduce the quality assurance time, then you can increase the production volume. Suppose for making the railway tracks, they are going to utilize this particular iron material. So before they are going to use this particular iron material for these particular tracks, so they have to test that particular iron material. Is there any cracks within this particular iron? So if there is any cracks within that particular material, so they have to throw it, and they cannot use that particular material for making the railway tracks. So for that particular purpose, so if you want to test each and every unit manually, it is going to have very time consumption. So in that case, so right now they are going to test through the ultrasonic testing process. So with the help of ultrasonic testing process, so if you are going to move this particular whatever the material through this particular ultrasonic lightning, so those are going to sense automatically. So it is going to reduce a lot of time for quality testing. So if you are going to eliminate whatever the ideal time, and if you are going to minimize the quality assurance time, and if you are going to reduce the production time as well as the material handling time, so automatically these are going to help in the increase in the production volume. So in the here you can see, so if you want to reduce the cost per unit, so you can have these four things: material, energy, manpower, and infrastructure. And if you want to increase the production volume, so you can reduce these aspects, so that finally it is going to affect the profit of this particular industry. Any industry, if they are going to automate, so final their goal is to increase the profits. So this can be possible by increasing the production volume. And what is the role of engineers in the industrial automation? So they may be designing of the automation system. So initially, if you want to automate any plant, so the specific engineers are required to automate the industry. Those who are expertise in handling the communication between the sensors and whatever the computers located at the central station, where you are going to monitor and where you are going to give the control actions to this particular various parts of the industry. And erection and commissioning, so this is also very important. So for a quarter or for every year, you have to inspect the entire industry. So that is very important when you have automated. So maintenance and troubleshooting of existing system, so this is also very important. So in all these three aspects, any person who is going to have the skills of industrial automation, so they can work with this particular three categories. And job prospect of for freshers. So nowadays all the managements in all manufacturing units, so they are going for industrial automation. Why? Because they want to survive globally in a competitive market. So they want to produce the more and more products by utilizing whatever the resources they have, and they want to increase their profits. So most of these particular units are looking forward for trained engineers in the field of industrial automation. And also they are thinking about more accuracy, more productivity in less time and with minimum manpower. So it is a very golden opportunity for the peoples, those who are interested in the field of industrial automation. So they can work with the industries, and they can avail the jobs in the three different job roles. They can work as the design engineers, they can work as the erection and commissioning engineers, and they may be specialized in the maintenance and troubleshooting of the existing system. And also manufacturing industries like Reliance, Seat, Godrej, Colgate, automation solution products manufacturers like Rockwell, Siemens, Groupie, Cinder Electrics, Yokogawa, ABB. So here, so these are the various companies. So where they have manufactured, they are going to have the manufacturing through the industrial automation, and these are the companies. So they are going to develop this particular automated product. So Rockwell Automation, Siemens Automation, Yokogawa, ABB, Groupie, Cinder. So all these are companies, those who are going to make the automation products. And system integrators for Groupie, Cinder, Rockwell, Siemens. So these peoples, they are going to integrate this automation process for the various industries, and also people can work as the consultants for automation. What is the current situation in this particular automation sector is, so automation is a high growth sector globally, hence it is essential to all professionals and students to have a practical knowledge about the hardware and software used in the industrial automation. So within this particular industrial automation course, so we are going to discuss hardware components, like what are the various sensors and what are the various industrial drives and what are the various machinery used in the industrial automation. And also we are going to discuss the software aspects, like how we can program the programmable logic controllers also, that we can discuss within this particular course. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.